It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Great day to be alive, and it's cold outside, and I hope you're all warm. And today's guest is Charon Rivers and her daughter Rachael, and they are with a program called SOS, Support Our Soldiers. If y'all remember the track chair that I'm driving now, we'll talk about that too. Stay where you are, be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here, and today's guests are out of the Birmingham area, and it's Charon Rivers and her daughter Rachael, and they're with an organization, or they are an organization called Support Our Soldiers. Got a great story. And for those of you that saw the story here on TV 24 about the track chairs that myself and Mr. Pepe got, she's responsible for that. Welcome to the show. First, I'll get Rachael. How you doing? We get that. And good to see you, Charon.
Nice to see you, too.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all coming down here. And today, as we're doing this show, it's weather's threatening out there. So I guess tomorrow we'll get to see that word that Medea don't want to ever hear again, is snow. But if we do, we get the milk and bread and get it taken care of.
There you go. That's
all anybody needs. Now, I want to ask you, and either one of you can answer this. Tell me about Support Our Soldiers. And let me ask you this before we do that. Is Support Our Soldiers for all, it's not just for Army?
It's for all branches of the military.
All branches, because a lot of people, when they see the word soldier, they want
do.
But there was a time that I remember that Navy, Air Force, everybody called you soldiers. Mm-hmm. And our governor, bless his heart, Governor Bentley, he refers to all as you soldiers out there. And boy, you got some Marines in the audience, they'll let you know right quick. I'm not a soldier, I'm a Marine. But it is for all branches.
It is for all branches.
Okay, so tell me how it got started and what it does. Which one of you want to do that? It's either one.
I'll start. Well, our son was in the Marines. Thomas. And he was in the Marines after high school. He graduated in 2007. And he went straight into boot camp. And he went to Afghanistan in 2009, and he was only there for a few months, and he was killed by an IED.
A few minutes?
Months.
Oh, I thought so. Oh.
He was killed, actually it was in April of 2010, and he was killed April 28th.
Sorry. That's the way, but you was Support Our Soldiers, did you have some things going on before he was?
No, we didn't. We started after that. We would send boxes to him, goodie boxes with all kinds of care package things in it, and he really liked getting the boxes. Well, after he was killed, we decided to keep sending boxes to the group that was still over there in his battalion, and we would send several boxes a month over there, and they enjoyed that, and that was in his memory we did that.
Okay. And Rachael, that was your brother. Let me ask you a blunt question. Why did y'all keep on after he was gone? Why did you want to keep doing Support Our Soldiers after he was gone?
Well, I remember right before he was killed, he told us, he was like, thank you so much for sending us the letters and boxes, because so many of my friends and my buddies don't get anything. And so sometimes we'd send him extra boxes. And then when he died, we just kind of took back, and we realized, like, just in his name, we want to keep sending those extra boxes and increase it. And that's how it got started.
Do you have contact with some of his buds?
We
still do?
We do, several of them.
That's got to be awesome there to do that. The pride you have for Thomas was it don't need to be talked about, because it's very obvious that you love that boy, and you love what he was doing. He was probably doing something he loved very much, but Rachael probably know more about it.
Absolutely.
He really gung-ho, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
If we get the control room to bring up a picture of Thomas, I'd appreciate it. I want people to see who we're talking about before we go too much further, because the picture, they said picture's worth 1,000 words. When you see him decked out there in all the gear and stuff, and I think we got the pictures up there now. Yeah, look at that. He's standing tall, ain't he? And you'd think he's a gunny sergeant. He thinks he is anyhow. Next, look at that. And
that was right before he left for Iraq, his first deployment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is before he went, right?
This is before he was, this was the first deployment to Iraq.
All right, look at that.
And that's also in Iraq.
That's what I was referring to Rachael. I bet you, I mean, that's saying I'm gung-ho, I'm all this, and you ain't.
He loved it.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm. He did love it.
You got him pegged pretty good, huh? But they write that blank check to this country, and they raise that right hand, and they go off, and and these things happen. But for somebody to keep the memory alive with that unit, I'm sure they got their own memories of that day when they lost Thomas. But to see that this family, with that loss, still goes on and remembers them, that's got to be. I've been on that other end over there when we got some cookies from home. Wouldn't eat them back here, but boy, they tasted good over there. When you used to eat MREs and things. What are some of the things you were sending before he was killed? What did you send him that they liked?
He always liked, his favorite thing was to get summer sausage because it was
What
meat.
is it?
Summer sausage. Get it at the grocery store. It's sort of like salami.
Yeah.
And he was in a position where he wasn't, there was no chow hall, so all he had to eat was MREs. So he liked to get food. He really liked food. Beanie Weenies and Vienna sausages, and like I said, the favorite was summer sausage.
I remember somebody was putting together a box. They were really wanting in Iraq. They were wanting baby wipes.
Yes.
That's a big one. We did send a lot of baby wipes because he had no running water where he was either. He was in a very remote place, so we would send baby wipes to him.
Do you still do that?
We still do that. Baby wipes are one of the most requested things.
Isn't that something? I had no idea. I mean, it's just, and it seemed like year round. It wasn't just in the summertime when it does so bad. They just wanted that because if you felt yucky, sometimes that's the only bath you get to take. They don't have like a shower stall you go into in the mountains of Afghanistan and over in the deserts of Iraq. I remember some of the guys in Iraq telling me that the worst place they wanted to go to where they had an impromptu shower, and there's always cobra snakes there and stuff like that. And you sure didn't want to ever go out there at nighttime, It just, I mean, I never have to, that's one of the things I don't think I'll ever have to worry about the rest of my life is going to the bathroom and worry about a big cobra, but that's some of the things they do. In the second part, I want to talk about this track share Facebook. Where do you get your funding for what you're doing now?
Well, we started off.
Not the charity.
Not the charity, yeah. We started out slowly, and we didn't make it into a true nonprofit until Rachael was doing pageants, and I'll let you tell them about
Yeah,
that.
I was going to ask her about it. Let's just jump ahead and talk about it. You were in a beauty pageant.
I did. I competed in the Miss Alabama system for several years, and that was my platform. We had to pick something that we were passionate about and something. And I realized, I was like, we already have our own platform, and so that's how SOS got its name. And then about 6 months or so later, a year, it became an official nonprofit. And then we started getting a lot more community involvement, and that's how we started getting a lot of our funding.
They said, well, you lost your brother after it happened. Then your platform goes to another level. From where you were there, you was out there trying to help your brother's friends, and then now you're going to a level that people say, she's got a reason to be here. You got passage to be in this. And do you have a lot of support? Do you feel like the community supports you?
Absolutely. We usually have several small fundraisers, but a big one each year, and the community's just really stepped it up. Not just supporting like through the boxes, but also supporting the veterans and honoring Thomas and working at the cemetery. There's so many ways than just sending the boxes. They're just focusing on one particular aspect of it. And they've really stepped it up, I think.
Well, that's
Definitely.
I would think that the people get more believable when you got something in the game that says I've lost something. But we're going to go to a break here before we come back. We're going to talk about these track shares and how you came to do that. I'm a recipient of one, and most people watch the show. Every one of them has called me or walked up to me or something and said something about it in the last few days, which I'm really proud of. But we're going to go to a break, come back. We're going to talk more with Sharon and Rachael. You stay right there. Get you a pen. And welcome back. I'm talking with Sharon Rivers and her daughter Rachael. We're talking about SOS. We're talking about support our soldiers and some of the good work they've been doing with the troops where Thomas Rivers lost his life in Afghanistan, and they in honor of him, they continue the program. Now we were talking about the what do you call them? The goodie boxes you send? Are you sending them boxes or just packages or?
Just boxes full of all kinds of goodies that they could use
any
and
idea
enjoy.
about how many you've sent?
I'm not sure about the total, but it's been about 600 the last few years, about
Oh, my
600 a year, about 50 a month.
It's been quite a lot.
A few weeks ago, I got a call from about power chairs. I'm always doing stuff on here, trying to find the help for veterans and that kind of thing. And I got a call asking me, because I have a power chair. A lot of folks know I have a power chair. They see me sitting behind a desk. they think I run a mile. They don't know I come here limping in here on a crutch, or cane. But having a power chair allows me to get into hospitals and places like that, and malls. But I had to give up my fishing and hunting and all that stuff. And I was offered a track chair maybe, and you came down to interview me, and within a few weeks, I'm in a track chair. I mean, I'm like everybody around this area that's interviewing that sees it, they want one. They don't have to have a disability. They just want one, that track chair. And we can get the control room to bring it up, bring up some footage we had here on the primetime news the other day. That's my friend Matt Pepe with the camouflage pants on. I told him I could still see him even though he's got them camouflage pants. And that's us when the chairs are just delivered. We were in a carport at Mr. Pepe's, and the weather was real bad outside. A great day for a track chair, but that was me nearly tearing down the door. But you can see all the things it does. It allows you to go backward, forward. But I saw a thing in over in British. The British would not allow you to have that because they said it looks too much like a tank. Can you imagine that, Sharon? That they
Can't imagine.
But they are so kind of sensitive over there about weapons that they don't want somebody riding around like that being. Now, when I did that for another TV station, I had a makeup of a gun. You saw like a 50 caliber machine gun. It looked awesome coming down through there with that.
It does, and it does look like a tank.
Yeah.
And it runs like a tank.
And I didn't told you this, but they have a hunt here every year for disabled veterans in this county, where I used to work at the depot. And I've not been able to go. I've missed every one of them. But guess what?
You're going to go this
I'm
year.
going to go. You'll see it. I'll get a turkey or get a tree limb or something.
Well, good for you.
That's an awesome deal. Tell me about how you got to the point of a track chair. I knew that the Wounded Warrior, Gary Sinise Fund, the Forrest Gump guy, they do this. There's a foundation to do that. And what made you decide to do this with your?
Well, actually, it was started, and we got the funding from a group of salesmen in Birmingham. The City Sales Club is a men's club in the city of Birmingham. And it was their idea to raise money for track wheelchairs. I don't know where they came up with it, but they had this idea that they wanted to raise money for. And one of the big donations came from Applebee's restaurants. And they gave us a tremendous check right at the end of last year, and it was specifically to donate track wheelchairs to veterans. Let
me interrupt you. I told you this in the green room. The day that y'all delivered the chair, I was still on a high, and that evening I decided to go somewhere to eat because hadn't been used to going. My daughter said, "Let's go to Applebee's." She had no idea that there's any connection with that chair, and I went there and I found out that later on, I found out with your article in the paper that's where a lot of the money comes from, Applebee's. So we're giving Applebee's a kudos here, and they well deserve it. But the city business people, was it just a Birmingham business group?
It was just a Birmingham Men's Business Club, and they were very specific about the wheelchairs, but they did not know how to go about finding veterans or what to do with the chairs. They just basically gave us money and said, get the chairs and find the veterans to give them to. And so that was what our job was, and we went around and contacted the VA hospitals, and sort of through word of mouth, we've been able to deliver. This year we've delivered 4 chairs so far.
Well, you got 2 of them here, and I just, for the city business leaders, that's the name?
It's called the City Salesman Club.
City Salesman Club. And I want to thank you for what you did there, because it changed this old boy's life. Where I had to, one of the things that some of the piece on the evening news was, at some point I realized I could not do what I used to do because of the problem with my leg. And I accepted all that. I never, to this day, ever thought that something would come along that would put me back on an equal playing field. But not only did it do that, but it put me above them. I'm the fastest dude on the field and the meanest looking when you see that thing coming. But I can't say enough, and I do it on behalf of Mr. Pepe too, because I talk to him every day, and it's just an awesome thing what you can do to change people's lives. And I know that feeling because I've had the opportunity to do that with the show, help people. But there's nothing like that for what you're doing. You're godsend. I mean, I just can't tell you how much it means to me. Now that when they gave you the money, are they going to continue on? Are you going to keep on doing this for others? Or are you going to run out?
Well, I've got more veterans than wheelchairs right now, so I'm keeping a file on them and hoping that they'll do the same thing maybe this year. I'm hoping they want to continue to donate to us, and if they do, then we'll have the funds to buy more chairs. I
saw a piece on a fellow that he's on the Fox television, Bill O'Reilly. Everybody knows Bill. And he's put nearly $9 million into that.
I've heard that.
He said, and I heard him say it, he says, we're not going to stop till every disabled veteran. He didn't say all the Afghan, Iraq, or what he said, every disabled veteran that needs a chair, could use a chair, get their outdoor part of their life back. And that's all. That's what this does. You don't ride these around your house because you might bump a lamp.
They won't fit through the doorway.
No. I found that out the other day in my carport. I nearly took out the whole side of my. I did. I mean, I moved a post a good distance, but I measured it before I started out there, and I said I got at least a quarter of an inch or 3/8 of an inch.
No.
No, I didn't do that. And that. Well, what are the future plans? Have y'all got a long range plan, or are you just going to keep going till you?
Well, it's been interesting to see how this all came about, because it wasn't exactly our plan. I think it was God's plan for us to grow in this way. So we're just going to take it one day at a time and see where we're led to next.
Well, this story that on our news and the one at Birmingham, Rachel, if you was a real estate agent, wouldn't you love to have that much attention from an ad that the people, what this has brought with the newspaper and the TV?
Oh, absolutely.
It just, I know if your phone's ringing any bit as much as mine has, everybody. And the thing was, like I was telling you earlier, it's not just people that are handicapped that want to see it. These built-up dudes that got pumped up, they want one of these things.
Well, they're really fun to drive.
Yeah,
I found that out when I was driving yours.
I saw you drive it, but it is last minute. We're down to a minute, but I want to make sure I cover everything that y'all need to say out there. That we got the phone numbers showing on the screen, right, Kizzy? Is that right here on the screen? How to contact. If you've got somebody, like she said, she's got a bunch of waiting list, but yours might move higher up on the priority if you've got that necessity. I think that's probably the way you're working it at.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Well, somebody out there that needs, there's some people that are eligible for the church for a thing like that, but they're not able to use it. There's other conditions would cause you not to be able to.
There are. You have to be able to use the joystick and to figure out where you're going so you won't run into doors.
Otherwise you're wasting chair. Well, I tell you, I have really appreciated y'all being on here. I appreciate the help you do. Appreciate what you've done for the support our soldiers. Rachel, thank you so much. Sure.
Thank you very much
for having you. And we'll be right back with news that you can use. Stay right there. Get you up. Thank you for tuning in to Veterans Issued. I appreciate Sharon Rivers and Rachel coming down and talking to us about support our soldiers, and for the businesses that has helped them help provide for the veterans. I can't say enough for you, and I hope that you continue to doing these kind of things. It's kind of giving back to those that's given a lot. So appreciate you for doing that, and I appreciate them for coming down this bad weather and doing the show. And anybody out there that needs a track chair, that is something that can take you. If you'd like to go into the woods, you'd like to go on the lakes fishing or on the beach, give me a call. I give that number that was up there for Sharon. And if you don't call me. Everybody's got my contact information. I know you do, because I'll talk to every one of you. And the last week of March, I'll have Tom Smith on here and Kathy Prowitz. And they're going to talk about something that you veterans out there are going crazy over, and that's that choice card. And the choice card that you got in the mail says if you live 40 miles or more away from a facility, we're calling that number, and I'm not going to give these out, the 205 numbers there. Just call the VA hospital and ask them somebody to talk about the choice card. But we're going to have Mr. Thomas Smith on here, and they're going to explain the uses of that choice card. Now, I had a situation come up that I had to go to a local hospital for some tests, and they have the same test in Birmingham, but my doctor at the VA made a phone call to the hospital, and I went directly to the one here locally to me. It's got a lot of twists and turns in it that you don't have to drive all the way to Birmingham for, even if it's within your range or your distance. They make exceptions. They're going to explain all that to you here toward the end of March. I don't remember the exact date, but I'll be talking to you more about it. I have the director of the VA here to talk to us personally about that, and he's going to bring us up to date on how the VA is doing. And the VA in Birmingham, I can just report to you that it's in excellent work over, excellent conditions. They're building a new female wing to the hospital. It's all together by itself. Well, it's standalone with a new parking deck and eye clinic, the Callahan Clinic, and everything's going to be consolidated in that new facility they're building. And the women's clinic, y'all going to appreciate that, because they had to take that VA hospital and convert it for women. It was never built for women veterans. So that's a great thing. He's going to tell us about that. And let's see. I was telling about. I'm going to give the shout outs. I'm going to forget them. I don't even like y'all anyway. No, I'm going to skip on them because I want to talk to you about that for building the law enforcement, firefighters, Afghanistan and Iraq memorials. I got some legislation through the House and Senate, both concurred, and we now have the location, the official location, up in Centennial Park, along where the official Vietnam Wall is, and World War I and World War II in Korea, to put those 4 memorials in there. It'll have a listing of everybody that we lost in Alabama on these walls. But I need some help, and it's P.O. Box 1826, Anniston, to the Community Foundation. Put Centennial Memorial on there. Some of you have done that, and I want to thank you for it. It's tax time, and people put it on there, and you do get a 501c3, so you get a deduction on that. So, Community Foundation, P.O. Box 1826, Anniston 36202. Continue to help us on that. If you buy that law enforcement tag, a portion of that goes toward that. So, and this week's shout outs are going to go to Sharon and Rachael Rivers and all the people that help out SOS. And if you have made a donation to them or are going to make a donation, I'm proof of what it does. It's like when you give your money to an organization, it'll go somewhere where theirs did. They made it happen, and for that I thank you. For this salutes for them. See you next week.